Good evening, crafting friends. I'm Dorene Decibus from It Begins with Ink and Paper, and welcome to the 12 Days of Halloween. I'm sorry I wasn't live yesterday. I had an infection that I had to have taken care of, but I'm doing well today, and so tonight I'm going to actually get caught up by showing you days 2 and 3. So let's get started. So we are using the Playful Ghost set for this whole thing for all 12 days, and we're using the Halloween Memories kit, which I showed you Saturday night. So let's get started. I have a cool little treat box to show you how to make, and I have a card that I'm going to make tonight. So let's just move that out of the way and let's get started. All right, so we'll start with the triangle box, the treat box. So what you are going to need is a piece of cardstock that measures 5 by 8. So 5 by 8. You're going to need a scrap of basic white, and this is actually one of the photo placeholders from the kit that I cut with the, I think it was the 5th smallest decal circle. And you're going to need 2 pieces of designer series paper, and they measure 4 3/4 by 3 3/4. And we're going to be cutting it to look like, let's see if I can get this right. It's going to be cut to look like, oh gosh, I don't know. Putting it back together, there we go. It's going to be cut to look like this. And we need 2 of them so that we can take care of the whole, all the sides of the triangular box. Okay, let's start with getting the triangular box made. So let me just go to my cheat sheet. We are going to be starting by just scoring this at 4 inches. That is our halfway mark. So score at 4 inches. Then we are going to make a tick mark at the 2.5 inch side, at 2.5 on the 5 inch side at both the top and the bottom. Now, when I make a tick mark, I could use pencil, but I like to just use my scoring blade and just put the tiniest little mark. You're not going to really see that afterwards. Then for my scoring, I'm going to go to that tick mark and line up the tick mark and the score line, and I'm going to score that. I'm going to do the same thing over here. I'm going to line up the tick mark and the score mark. It's probably the hardest thing about this box. And score that. And then again, do the same thing, the tick mark and the score mark. And what you're going to end up is a scored diamond coming right across the center of this. Okay, I'm not sure if you can see that diamond that I've scored, but there's a triangle here and a triangle here. Then what I'm going to do is, again, on this piece of paper, I'm going to do another tick mark as well. I only need to do the tick mark at the 2.5 inches at the, oh no, it's not 2.5, sorry, 2 3/8 on the 4 3/4 size. Let me just make sure of that. We'll make this just a little bigger. I want to make sure I'm reading that right. My computer is way over. So yes, it's going to be on the 4 3/4 side. You're going to make it at 2 3/8. So I'm going to go in here, go to my 2 1/4, then 3/8, and again I'm just going to put a little tick mark at the top. And then I am going to take that tick mark and the corner, and I am going to cut this time. So there's one piece, and I'm going to do that again. Now a little hint, when you have just a little piece of paper or corner or such, cutting it from the middle sometimes is helpful. Okay, so we have this piece. So now we have all of our things cut and scored for our treat box. So I'm going to grab my bone folder, and I am going to just fold this in all the directions. And you're going to see how easily that is going to fold up into our box. And then we're going to be punching the top to add our ribbon. We won't have to be adding anything to hold it together because the ribbon's going to hold the whole thing together. So let's start by putting on our pieces. So we'll get that part done first, and then we'll do our stamping. So I know I have some adhesive here. And that is not the right side. It's only going to fit one way. So if you find it's not fitting, then you know you're holding the triangle the wrong way. There we go. So we'll get all these pieces on. I have to say, the striped paper and maybe the books that I'm going to be using in my card tonight are my favorite designs from this designer series package. It just makes everything so cool. I just love it. Hard part is lining these back up. They're not going to be perfect because these lines are not on straight, so just remember that. Okay, so now we'll do the other side. Now I like covering off my sides. You could just do this on one side and leave the back to be black or whatever color you decide to make yours in. This treat box has a lot of options because you've got the Granny Apple Green, the Pumpkin Pie, the Gorgeous Grape, the Pool Party. You've got white, you've got black. So you've got lots of things lots of ways that you can decorate with different kinds of cardstock, which just makes it really nice. And now we'll just do our other side. And we have all of our paper on the outside. So now I'm just going to bring this back up and fold, and I'm going to open this side, make sure it's lined up, and I'm going to grab my 1/8 of an inch hole punch, and I'm going to punch it through that side. Then we'll open this one up, and I'll do the same thing over here and punch. There we go. So this will fit, out of the candy I had here at home, 3 York peppermint patties. They're snug, but I was able to fix them in over the weekend when I was doing this. Okay, there we go. So next I'm going to take some of my checkered gingham ribbon. I think I need about 16 inches, maybe a little less. And I'm going to close this and thread this piece through the first side. So let me just, if you really cut it at a nice angle, you'll get it through with no problems. Well, I'm going to actually start, let's just move those out of the way, and I'm going to do one at a time. Of course, I just dropped my ribbon. And I will just do one at a time to get it in. You could go with a larger punch, but I felt I could get it in this way. Let's see, so I need it wrong way. Okay, so this is the hardest part, is getting this through. So I'm just going to use my tool and push it through. Of course, when I was making it off camera, I didn't have any problem getting it through. There we go. Okay, so that's through. So now let's put these in. And we'll work on this side. There we go. So pull these out so that they come together, and all I have to do is tie a bow to keep it closed. So kind of nice. You don't have to put any adhesive on this to hold it together. Your bow does all of that. And then I can just cut a little bit of this off. There we go. So now it is all made. Okay, so the next part we're going to do is a little bit of stamping. We're going to take the little vampire, and I am stamping him in Memento Black. There we go. And then I am going to color his cape with the light Granny Apple Green. Not going to do any shading on this, just going to color it. I have found that these photo markers are not the same weight as our regular basic white, so I don't want to put too much ink on it because it will bleed out. So it's the one thing I'm trying to be careful about with this. I'm almost out of them all, so I will be using basic white from now on. And then I'm going to use the light black and color his head. I did it all Granny Apple Green last time, but I didn't really like it. So we're going to go with black. I just love these little guys. They are so cute. There we go. I'm going to add some booze. So let's get the black ink pad again. There we go. And then I was looking for what kind of gems I could use on this. And I actually found the Glossy Dots assortment. And this is the perfect assortment. It has Gorgeous Grape and Pool Party, which are both in this color combination. And it also has Mambo Pink. I can't remember what that's called. It also has a Pink and Daffodil Delight. So I'm going to turn this so that this is going to go on the front using dimensionals. There we go. And let's put on some dots, and then this one is done. So I think I'm going to put the Gorgeous Grape on. And there we go. Our day 2 is all done with this triangular treat box. Let me just put those off to the side. You can see the difference between using just the green and then the green and the black. Okay, I'm going to put those aside because next we're going to be making a card. And this is what our card looks like. And I'm going to show you how you can dye some of that grosgrain ribbon. So we're going to do that first so that it has a chance to dry. So I'm going to cut some off. I don't need much because I'm just going to be tying a bow with it. And I'm going to be using the dark Granny Apple Green. And I'm just going to take one small section at a time. And on the side, because I don't want to ruin my brush tip, I am going to just be coloring over that. And you can see when you go to the other side, it's colored exactly the same. So you don't need to color the other side. So let's just get the rest of this. There. We'll just let that sit and dry. This is a super easy card because we're going to let the Designer Series paper do the work for this one. I know who I'm going to give this one to. It's an easy choice. One of my nieces just is a voracious reader, and I just thought all these books would be perfect for her. So I hope she's not watching and getting a glimpse of her Halloween card. So I'm using a 3-inch piece of the Potion and Spells paper. The 3 inches gives you that nice centered books. And then I'm using the Garden Green Bubbles and Stars. So I'm just going to center that on. And this is going to go on the front of my card. On the inside panel, I'm going to stamp Boo. And you're going to see me do this a lot with Boo on the inside and a bunch of spiders going around it. As I said, I think in my first night on Saturday night that you don't really need a lot of room to write a letter in a Halloween card. So there's that. So that is all set for the inside. And I will put this here. On this little piece of paper, I'm going to stamp Happy Halloween. There we go. I'm going to slice this off to the side and just leave it just like that. I'm going to use dimensionals to put it on the front of the card. There we go. Now I'm going to take this and tie it. I will tell you the ribbon does get a little stiffer after you color it with the blends, but it doesn't hurt the ribbon at all, or its tying ability, or any of that good stuff. And then I'm just going to trim it. And then we just have, I think, one more thing to do. We'll get a glue dot to put this on. Right on the corner like that. And then I'm just going to take this little 1/2 inch by 4 piece of Designer Series paper and put it in the inside of the card. Just to add a little bit of the front to the inside. There we go. And that's our second project. for tonight, and it's actually day 3's project. So these are the 2 projects we made tonight. I hope you have enjoyed them, and I will be coming back. I'm going to be taping tomorrow's and Wednesday because I have a webinar that I'm participating in both nights at 7, so can't be at 2 places at once. Okay, everybody, thanks for joining me. I'll see you tomorrow. Good night. Bye-bye.